Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that, well, cuts through the noise to get you those essential insights you really need.
That's the goal, helping you feel truly well-informed.
And today, we're diving into something that honestly can feel pretty complex: China's visa rules. Specifically, how they apply if you're thinking about medical tourism there.
Right. It's not just about filling out forms, is it? It's more about smart planning, strategic planning, really.
Exactly. To make the whole journey smoother, more efficient, successful.
Yeah, and we're working from a really solid guide today. It covers the visa application process for medical tourism in quite some detail.
Our job is to pull out the key bits, the nuggets that clarify what visa you actually need.
Because it does depend, right, on your medical situation, how long you think you'll need to stay.
So we want to equip you to pick the right visa, maybe sidestep some common problems.
And maybe even tap into some of those visa-free options that people don't always know about. Yeah, for a much smoother ride.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So first things first. If someone from abroad needs medical treatment in China, what are the sort of main visa types they should be looking at?
Well, typically you've got the L visa, that's your standard tourist visa, or you're looking at an S2 or maybe an S1 visa.
Okay.
The core idea is matching the visa to how complex the medical need is, and of course the planned length of stay.
So let's say it's something relatively simple, maybe an outpatient thing, a minor procedure, staying less than a month.
Right. For those kinds of straightforward treatments or stays under 30 days, the L visa usually works.
Okay, the tourist visa.
Yeah. But, and this is important, this is also where those visa-free or visa exemption policies really come into play. They can open up options for quick, efficient trips.
Interesting. So what if it's more involved? Maybe requires a longer recovery time, pushing past that 30-day mark.
Okay, then you're generally going to be looking at either the S2 or the S1 visa.
S2 or S1.
The S2 is specifically designed for stays that fall between 30 and 180 days.
Okay, up to 6 months.
Exactly. Now, if the treatment plan looks like it's going to go beyond 6 months, so over 180 days, then the S1 visa is technically the one you'd need to apply for.
And the guide mentions that the S1 may be hard to apply for. That sounds like, well, more than just a bit of extra paperwork.
That's definitely a significant heads up.
What does that difficulty mean in practice? Are we talking way more documents, longer waiting times, or what makes it so challenging?
That's a really good point, and it highlights why that strategic planning we mentioned is so key. The difficulty usually means a much higher burden of proof is needed.
Okay.
You might need really extensive medical records, maybe even pre-approvals from certain government departments, and you can expect a very, very thorough review process.
So a higher chance of refusal too, perhaps?
Potentially, yes. Compared to other visa types, it could mean a higher rejection rate, which might force someone to rethink, their long-term medical plan, maybe look at doing a series of shorter S2 visas instead, if that's even possible for their condition.
Wow.
It definitely signals you need to start that S1 application process way earlier and be incredibly meticulous with everything.
That really hammers home the guide's advice, doesn't it? Choose the right visa based on your specific medical needs and your travel situation. It's definitely not one size fits all.
Not at all.
But, okay, beyond these standard visas, you mentioned something really interesting, these increasingly liberal visa-free policies China has been rolling out.
Yeah, this is potentially a massive shift, especially for medical tourism. More and more countries are being added to the list for visa-free entry.
And the guide had that kind of surprising pro tip about this.
It did. It points out that because top Chinese hospitals can be incredibly efficient, you might even be able to get minor treatments or, say, surgeries done, even if you're just on a 10-day transit visa, provided you plan it meticulously, of course.
Hold on, a 10-day transit visa. So you could potentially handle something minor, like, I don't know, dental work or a quick diagnostic check during a layover.
If planned well, potentially yes. It's quite remarkable.
But what are the big hurdles there? I mean, coordinating a medical procedure inside that really tight transit-dependent window sounds tricky.
Oh, coordination is absolutely the biggest challenge. You'd need everything pre-booked, practically down to the hour hospital slots, tests, any follow-up.
Right.
And you'd need to be sure the hospital can actually do rapid assessments and treatments.
Yeah.
Plus, remember that transit visa means you have to be flying onward to a third country.
Ah, okay, so you can't just fly in from home, get treatment, and fly back home on that visa.
Correct. You're essentially slotting a medical appointment into a larger international trip. It really does reshape what we might think of as medical tourism
Mhm.
turns a potentially weeks-long trip into, well, maybe just an opportunistic health stop.
Fascinating. Okay, so understanding these visa-free options is clearly crucial. Let's maybe break down the three main ones the guide mentions.
Sure. So first up is the 240-hour transit visa-free policy.
For 10-day one we just talked about.
Exactly. Key thing.
Right.
It's purely for transit. You must have proof you're leaving China for a third country or region, not just going back where you came from.
Right.
Max stay is 10 days, 240 hours. It covers quite a few areas, 24 provinces, I believe, and you can travel between them. But that confirmed onward ticket is absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, got it. What's the next one?
Then there's the 30-day nationwide visa-free policy. This one's much broader. It's for things like tourism, business meetings, visiting family, general travel, really.
And that's 30 days.
Up to 30 days, yes. And it applies across the whole country, nationwide. Crucially, for this one, you don't need that onward ticket to a third country.
Yeah.
Much more flexible if you just want to travel within China.
Okay, that makes sense. And the third one?
That's the 30-day Hainan visa-free policy.
Specific to Hainan province, presumably.
Exactly, just for Hainan.
Yeah.
It covers quite a range of purposes. Tourism, business, even medical treatment is explicitly mentioned, or attending exhibitions. But not for work or long-term study.
Right.
Again, it's up to 30 days, and like the nationwide one, no third country ticket needed. The big difference is really where you can use it Hainan only and the explicitly listed purposes.
Okay, so we have the standard visas, L, S2, S1, and these different visa-free paths. How does the guide connect these to specific types of medical treatment? It had a table, right?
Yes, it lays it out very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
It basically mashes the visa type or exemption to the treatment validity period and complexity.
So for those simpler cases, outpatient, elective procedures, mild conditions, treatment under 30 days.
For those, the guide suggests the L visa, the regular tourist one, is suitable. But importantly, this is exactly where those various visa-free options we just discussed become really practical.
Right, so if you're from one of the eligible countries.
Exactly. And the number of eligible countries has been growing quite a bit for these schemes. We're talking visa exemptions for maybe 26 countries, the 240-hour transit covers 54, the 30-day nationwide also 54, and Hainan covers 59 countries.
Wow, quite a few.
Yeah, so lots of people could potentially use these visa-free routes for simpler, shorter medical visits. You'd always need to double check if your nationality is included, of course.
Definitely. Okay, moving up the scale, what about surgical or specialty treatments? Things that are maybe moderately severe, need more complex care, and might take between, say, 30 and 180 days.
For that category, the guide clearly points to the S2 visa, and a key piece of documentation you'll need for that is confirmation of your medical appointment in China.
Makes sense. You need proof you're actually going for treatment.
Precisely. And then for the most serious situations, complex and critical care, severe conditions, very complex treatments, needing more than 180 days.
That's the S1 visa territory.
That's right. For the S1, you'll need things like a detailed hospital treatment plan, proof you have accommodation arranged, and all this comes with that reminder we discussed earlier.
That it may be hard to apply for.
Exactly. Requires significant preparation.
Okay, this is super helpful, but here's where it gets a bit intricate, maybe. For travelers who might actually qualify for multiple visa-free options, say someone from France or Germany or Japan, how does that work? The guide mentions default rules.
Yes, and understanding these is actually quite strategic. Border Control has default priority rules they follow if a traveler is eligible for more than one visa-free entry type.
So it's not just random which one you get.
No, there's a hierarchy. Generally speaking, the 30-day nationwide visa-free takes priority over the 30-day Hainan option.
Okay.
And the 30-day Hainan, in turn, takes priority over the 240-hour transit visa-free.
Nationwide Hainan transit. Okay, so let's put ourselves in the shoes of a traveler. Say I'm from Germany, eligible for both the 30-day nationwide and the 240-hour transit. What happens when I arrive at the border?
Good question. By default, unless you state otherwise, they will likely apply the 30-day nationwide policy.
Which is great if I just want to travel around.
Exactly. But let's say your plan specifically involves that short, transit-based medical stop we talked about, and you need the conditions of the 240-hour transit visa.
Then I need to speak up.
You absolutely do. You need to explicitly declare your intention as transit, and you must present that confirmed onward ticket to a third country. If you don't, you'll just get the default nationwide status, which might mess up your specific travel and medical plans.
Right, because the nationwide doesn't require the onward ticket, but the transit does. Okay. What about the other scenario? Say I'm eligible for both nationwide and Hainan, and my treatment is in Hainan, maybe at a specialized clinic there.
Okay. Even if you land directly in Hainan, the default priority is still the 30-day nationwide policy.
Really? Even in Hainan?
Yes, unless you specifically ask for the Hainan-specific exemption.
Why would that matter if both give 30 days?
Well, the Hainan policy explicitly lists medical treatment as a permitted purpose. While you might be fine using the nationwide for medical tourism too, having the purpose officially listed on the Hainan exemption could potentially be useful, maybe for documentation, or if you plan future medical trips specifically to Hainan.
Ah, I see. So if your plan is medical and Hainan focused, it's probably best to request the Hainan exemption explicitly.
It's certainly the safest approach to ensure everything aligns perfectly with your stated purpose. The border officials follow the defaults unless you, the traveler, clearly specify your need for a different status.
So you really need to be proactive and know which status fits your plan best, especially if it's a more specific medical itinerary that relies on, say, the transit rules or the Hainan focus.
Absolutely. Knowing these subtle differences can genuinely change your entry experience and dictates what's feasible for your medical trip. It lets you optimize things before you even leave home.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap the really critical points from today's deep dive.
Sounds good.
First, we saw that understanding those main visa types, the L for short tourist simple stuff, S2 for medium-term treatment, and S1 for long-term complex care is fundamental. They're tailored to treatment complexity and duration.
Right, and then we uncovered the real potential in China's expanding visa-free policies.
Right.
They offer surprising flexibility and can open up completely new ways to approach medical travel there, especially for shorter trips or simpler procedures.
And maybe the most subtle but crucial part, those default priority rules for visa-free entry. Knowing the hierarchy nationwide Hainan transit and knowing you need to speak up if you need a non-default option, that's key for strategic planning.
It's not just about avoiding mix-ups at immigration. It's about actively shaping your entry to match your specific medical travel needs.
So hopefully this knowledge gives you, our listener, a real shortcut. Helps you feel more informed, able to plan accurately, confidently.
Whether that's specifically for medical treatment or even just for understanding how travel to China in general is changing.
Which leaves us with a final thought, perhaps.
Yeah. So what does this all really mean? If digging into these seemingly complex visa rules can actually unlock these medical tourism opportunities and make traveling to China feel less daunting,
Then what other areas that maybe seem overwhelming at first glance might actually have surprisingly clear pathways hidden within them?
exactly. If we just knew where to look, or perhaps what specific questions we needed to ask, it really comes down to leveraging precise, targeted knowledge for real, practical advantages.
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.